It is Wednesday night, and that's time for Cut the Nonsense, episode 5. Mike, Joe, and myself, we will be talking Savannah Bananas, eBay. We'll be talking maybe even a little bit of cricket. So join us now.
What just happened? There's like a cricket noise in the back. Did you hear this? Is there a phone ringing?
Every second of it. I loved every
Joe's
second
excited.
of it.
Look at those chunky cheeks just beaming with enthusiasm. All right. Danny, much better. I think he was out of focus, but that's okay.
Mike, let me go back to your chunky comment. Right now, I am glowing.
Compliment. Chunky compliment. Yep.
Yes. I was sick the past 5 days. Couldn't leave within 5 steps of the restroom, which would have made me look amazing for pool season, right? So I saved the look, the glow, and everything for the show today. Do
you have a sunburn? Is that why your face is red? Did you get a little color?
No, I was outside for a second.
Okay.
We're hovering at about 110 right now. No clouds in the sky. If you have a convection oven, the best analogy I can give you, it's turning your oven up to the highest setting possible, and then allowing the fan to blow it, and then just opening it up just enough to the fan still going. And just putting your face right there.
You know what I like though? They say, oh, it's a dry heat. It's 138 degrees with the index, but it's a dry heat. If it's 138 degrees, I don't care. You're just miserable. That is way too much.
But for fashion's sake,
sure,
the sweat is evaporating, so you don't have to worry about your clothes just being soaked.
You never seen me sweat.
Yeah, well,
Danny's going to be in and out all day. This is the show, folks.
So,
Danny's done nothing wrong. Well, maybe.
Here's what's going on.
Please.
There are construction trucks down my street I just saw, and they are from our internet provider. I don't want to blame anybody.
But... Perfect. Don't blame anybody, and he didn't. So let's just move on with the show.
And that's fine.
Danny's dead.
Danny, this is what you get when you ask him to do new lighting, and he did improve the lighting, which made the room even darker for him. Addition by subtraction. But he is back. So
I like the contrast in lighting between you two. I've got Joe just a beam of white and then a smearing of red, and I've got Danny just the Ali mute.
Listen,
what are you?
Normal. This is perfect lighting.
He's got that pompadour underneath that hat. But guys,
right,
I actually have a sheet. I have a sheet covering up my window. Like, this is insanity. I get it, Mike, but
it's okay. It's not your fault.
I'm doing 30 seconds at a time. That's how we're doing this episode.
Okay.
You know what? Well, while I have you here, I did want to bring up an article that Michael Terry wrote on Collectibles. And he was talking about Card Ladder. And I know Card Ladder is a sponsor of the podcast, Mike. But I don't really understand what they pull from. And I mean, do they get all the solds? Do they pull the stuff from 130 point? Because they show that there was, when we talk about the hobby last month, they had a high number of people registered on Card Ladder, but they show that there was over 300 million in sales for the month of June in cards.
So what do they pull from? Is that the question?
How do they get the data? Where's the information from? Does it pull all the completed sales?
So they basically, Mike, I'll answer and fill me in if I'm wrong, but it's eBay, it's the auction houses, it's everywhere there's a public sale to be recorded. And then additionally, if there's private sales, they will investigate that manually and get that in there also. So pretty comprehensive.
Yeah.
Like completed sales, though?
Actual completed sales. So if a card sells and doesn't get paid for, it does not get logged over there. Yep. That's why I know sometimes people are like, oh, well, not all the comps are there. No, some of those comps just weren't real. They never got paid for. Yep.
Okay. And how does that...
Golden auction, PW. That's why you can always see if there's a massive premier auction at one of the big auction houses in a month, the sales number's way up. Like there's tens of millions in, single auctions at times. So
does that track TCG as well?
As far as I know, because they have a whole TCG index on there.
So does that also pull data, and does that compare data to TCG Player? Because I know that's a big thing at the shop when people come in.
I don't know. TCG Player is like the end-all be-all, but I don't know.
TCG Player was bought by eBay, so I would assume they may only have eBay listings. Am I wrong?
Well, I could tell you that TCG Player shows different prices and different sales than what eBay shows. And what we found actually is TCG also, they advertise to buy cards on their site. So I mean, the pricing looks a little different.
He's
It looks
holding
like-
back. He's holding back. You see the
Well,
little
no,
Yeah.
the smearing of a smile on that little chubby face? Let it loose.
So
why I
do
was
you,
holding back is because I don't know that it's 100% accurate. But in my opinion, that because it is a card marketplace as well, I believe that they also kind of skew pricing.
They're juicing the numbers?
In some instances. Yes, I
Okay.
do.
I think
And I
all
think
things
they
are
lower
that
them
for
in
the
others.
numbers. Hang on. Is it anybody else getting this? Yeah, there's an echo every time I talk. Is it just me?
Nope, just you. You sound amazing.
How dare you? Okay.
Those delta tones of Aaron Neville. I don't
Well,
know much.
Joe, let me ask you the difference between that.
I don't know.
And, or-
Please,
or-
Danny, please.
uh,
I need to know.
this is where people are literally reading the description of the podcast and figuring out what they turned into.
Yeah.
This is where people are just leaving, actually. You meant
No.
to say so people are logging off. Anyway,
God.
okay.
Okay,
But I
no,
tripped
no.
an Aaron Neville sing along. Sorry.
Enough about TCG. Card shops, easy, hard. What do people not know about them? Real quick, because I had somebody who said it's easy to own a card shop. You make all the money, and I want Joe's perspective, and then Gio running a business in the hobby and working.
That's what somebody said. It's easy to own a card shop. You just make money.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
there are plenty of shops that don't.
They
but-
said they get all the wax, and
Yeah.
they just sell the wax for all the money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we actually get we've been in the card business longer than Mike's collecting and is breaking, but we get less wax than Mike. But
How long have you been in the card business? Throwing shade over here.
Greenie Sports Cards, no, they've been since the early 2000s, and then the location that we're at now, we've been since 2016. Prior to that, we were there at another location for 9 years. So, I mean, we're well over 20 plus years.
Wow.
But what I could tell you about the card shop, and I do not own the card shop, but what I do know is that you have $4+ grand in rent. You're paying, and this is for all retail, right? For the most part, is you're paying for the air conditioning, the heating and cooling. You're paying for the water. You're paying overhead for your employees, healthcare, all that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, that's why the margins have to be where they need to be for you to buy things. So when it also comes to wax too, Mike knows you get slammed with a lot of product when it comes out.
Sure.
I mean, you're making money, but you're getting hammered on some certain things. So like when Bowman came out, Bowman this year was crazy expensive, and
Underwhelming.
yeah, it was, but for the amount of product that they're hitting you all at once, I mean, you're looking at 100 to 200,000 to 300,000 plus charge like that on your card. So any safety net that you may have, I mean, you're trying to get this all back as fast as you can by selling it, and the product sells, right? We know it's a hot product, 100%, but it is tough. That's why when I do say 40 to 60%, people typically only hear the 40% because that's all that's important to them is hearing that number. But the fact is, eventually, yes, you pay up on other items that are going to be more expensive. But when you're buying the collection of everything, you have to leave more of a margin because it's that important. Because it can be so expensive to have that brick and mortar shop. Not to mention a lot of the shops, like a Nate or even Jeff, I could only imagine for the size and square footage that they have. It's got to be a huge nut to crack every month just on the rent.
It's got to be 10, 15, 20 grand a month in utility overall, overhead total. Has to be.
Absolutely. And that's why you see a lot of shops that are older shops. They are like on the side of a strip mall that doesn't face like the main road because you have to buy that. Or you do, I mean, constantly, like I told you, we've been around for so long, but every week I'll at least have 5 to 10 people. I never even knew you were here. And I'll say, hey, we were here before the gym next door was a grocery store, like that kind of stuff. Like it, I mean, that it happens every single week.
Gio, do you have minimums when you buy products? Is that outdated? Is that outdated? If you want product A, do you have to buy product B to get it?
Not officially. Like back in the day with at Peach State, GTS, Southern, those are the 3 big distributors. Yes. If you want National Treasures football, you have to buy 2-to-1 National Treasures collegiate football to get 1 case. That was a very cut and dry, like allocated thing. Now it is less so. But Topps has been very vocal, like, hey, we're not going to have set parameters, But they say at every industry conference, every time they're talking on social, we want to work with people who want to work with us. So I take that to mean when we offer you a rebuy for a higher price, you take it because that shows us you're committed and you're going to spend more money. When we offer you 20 cases of an average product, you take the 20 cases as opposed to, oh, this one's not good, I'm going to take 5. That's been our thing. Like since the beginning of the year, that was me and Eddie. He's my partner out west in San Jose. I just told him we are no longer turning down product. And then occasionally, I would say maybe 3 times a year, there'll be a product where I'm like, hey, Bowman's Best every year is perfect for our customer base. I want to go absolutely nuts. Can I leverage getting rid of Sterling, Diamond Icons, and Dynasty to get X amount of that case? Like, is that something? Hey, I'm not going to just call and complain about every number I get, but occasionally we'll try to juice up a certain product, and they've been willing to work to a degree with us on that. But yeah, at the end of the day, like, there's no reason to like be coy about it. Like, Topps has all the power. Fanatics has all the power. If they want to sell to you, they will. If they don't, they won't. And there's certain people who have major microphones or a major YouTube show or a massive
podcast.
Yep. Because by the way, we're not exempt. We get more product than other people who do bigger numbers than us because we have an exposure. Like, I don't doubt that for a second.
But Mike, I don't even know. I don't know if we talk about it, but I'm going to.
Good.
So we get a scorecard, right? So we get a scorecard as a shop. Breakers get a separate scorecard.
We haven't got ours yet, though. But yes, you're correct.
Yeah, and
this is from Fanatics.
Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
That's, I mean, your scorecard grades you. I mean, you're submitting financial data. You're submitting data of products that sell, and that's what allows you to be an MVP store.
So for the breaker thing, they come into your live room. What is the live experience like? What is the, it's even like volume, like our breaks actually filling when people come in, or are you pushing breaks off? The accessibility of product, the range of stuff you're selling. So in other words, are you buying the memorabilia they're offering? Are you buying the swag, the top sweatshirts and all that stuff? In addition to baseball, basketball, football. Another thing they really mentioned this time too was the experience of the customer. How scheduled out are your shows? Do you have one show scheduled for a week and then people don't know where to find you? Or do you have the next 4 or 5 days scheduled out? That's the breaker scorecard, which quite frankly, we are not going to do great on. We're very last minute. Like, there's a reason we don't succeed at some of that stuff.
Well, and the memorabilia too. I mean, we were a Fanatics collect store for memorabilia. And
before the Topps days.
Yes. And we did that because we thought that was going to help us. But those are two. So Fanatics Collect and Fanatics Authentic are two different. They're two different completely. So and that's where they try to cross over with the Eminence products, or Eminent, excuse me.
Eminent,
yes.
The 8x10 autograph pieces.
So what are the differences? How do they define it?
So one sells you wax. Yeah, one sells you wax, Topps. The other one sells you the autographed baseballs, the autographed jerseys. Like, we just got solicited for the baseballs that came out, the Under Wraps series. We got solicited for Under Wraps jersey autographs, and we got solicited for the Emanate autographed 8x10s.
Which, Danny, at one point, I will tell you, those products, the Under Wraps, were fantastic products. Great products. You got big names. You got because they're jerseys, they can be basketballs, footballs, baseballs. You got inscriptions. But then, I mean, what comes with eventually Fanatics doing what they're doing and securing different athletes and different sports and different licensing, it just got to a point where it wasn't feasible, because you're going to need to pass on this cost, because you get like a 5-box case of Eminent for like maybe 17 to 2,200, and then you have to pass that on to someone, and your margin is maybe 25, 30 bucks, like, on something.
Oh yes, I think I say percent. I was going to say you guys are killing it.
Crazy.
No, I mean, so then you're essentially holding your money hostage to try to sell those items, and again, it's a 5-box case, and if someone comes in and they hit that big one, and you're trying to show your store off, and you're tagging Topps and Fanatics, the likelihood of these people coming in to buy the other 4 are slim to none. Like, that now turns into giveaway central, 100%.
I will say, I think that's a big miss by Fanatics. I think there's room. The reason the price is so high is everything's authentic, and the resale is good, by the way. Like, those jerseys, I can go out and buy a Tatis replica jersey and you can tell it's a replica, but if you frame it up in a decent shadow box, it still looks presentable. You can get them for $150. Frame it up, $200. But when you do the authentic jerseys, everything has the tag, the majestic, everything's beautiful. But now the price is $350 to $400. Some guys will pay that all day, but I've had a lot of guys push back, like, "Hey, once it's in a frame, I can't tell." So I think but that's what comes with you getting the authentic. Everything's authentic.
But
I
Danny,
don't.
let me cut Mike off here
Yeah,
because
please.
you remember, Danny, growing up, because Danny, you're the elder statesman of this trio. Like when
57.
you had an authentic jersey, the numbers were heavy because you could feel that big stitch thing, and
Yeah.
now everything's sleek in design. So I don't even care that it's an authentic jersey because if I get the Nike on field or the whatever their tier is, it's the same thing. It's like that screen print. It doesn't have the big thick like okay, for car lovers, if you're a King Ranch pickup truck guy where it's got the ball mitt leather and the huge stitching, like, dude, that was the big stuff, Danny. Like back in the day, King
As
Ranch.
opposed to the Kia Carnival, like
Thank you.
replica.
Where it's yes. So that's what the
Just
jerseys
you
are
and
today.
Jesse
They're more-
cruising around 130-degree heat.
Speaking of which, I need new tires, so we'll have that GoFundMe link at the bottom of the page.
Sure,
later on
happy
today.
to help.
But dude, I'm telling you that the jerseys are nice, like Mike's saying, but it's not the heavy duty, the heavy stitch stuff that we're used to back in the day. Like I have a Darnell Dockett jersey from 2007, which is amazing, but it is, I mean, it's way nicer and heavy duty compared to my Calvin Johnson 2014, 2015 jersey. Like it over time, it's just changed. And I get it. You're paying for that label and that logo there. But it's
But the
same.
gap becomes too much. I'll tell you where I struggle is the baseball. Dude, the baseballs, they're all authentic baseballs. That box should be $150. I got to charge $275.
Yeah,
That's
It's tough.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
but I will tell you, so big spring training hub right out here in Phoenix. We do have a Rawlings that people go to, a Rawlings store. Dude, a dozen of Rawlings baseballs, insane, like insane price. I think it's like
Don't say it.
100
Don't say it. Don't say it. Danny,
I-
how much is a dozen Rawlings baseball cost? From the
100
factory in Phoenix.
$125.
$10. Okay, I was gonna say like $7 a ball. $84.
Dude, I think it's like 144
What?
in baseballs.
Price is
sell,
right rules. I won.
we sell them during
Fair.
spring training for like
Any rules you won.
18 to $20 for a baseball.
Yeah, one of the things I've noticed is when I go into card shops now, it is heavily memorabilia.
Really? See, that's the thing around here. Some are, like Shep's, my local is, but a lot are not. But
Well,
when you
just-
see it with Fanatics memorabilia, that's why they're pushing that heavy.
That's
They're
exactly what I'm
expanding.
wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At
Joe,
the Rawlings
that's-
store, I was going to tell you, they do have like the baseballs that commemorate certain things. So like All-Star Game, 20
I'm cool with
something.
those. I'll pay
So
for that.
And that's a big deal. I mean, people definitely want to get those signed by specific players during spring training. So I do see a little bit of the upcharge there, but for the standard baseball, I'm not talking the Pony League baseballs that you can get that are dirt cheap at Dick's Sporting Goods. We're talking the authentic Rawlings
hand sewed.
that are rolled in that special mud from New York.
Delaware. It's actually Delaware.
Sorry.
I know my mud. All right. Today has been a perfect example. We are in episode 5 of a new show, and I wanted to pull back the curtain on some of the stuff that maybe goes on behind the scenes, some of the stuff that you may not know about the three of us. And I don't know if Mike and Joe are going to play with me on this one, but I wanted to find out from them what they've thought of the show and what's been a challenge and what they've been happy with so far.
Joseph?
Put it in the comments also for everybody.
So what I'll say is like, yes, I'm addicted to hearing about myself, but
Thank you.
yeah.
That's what I like about Joe, the thank you, by the way. Okay.
Thank you. So when they post in the comments, it's fantastic. But one of the things I really like about the show that I've grown to kind of love is we can all three of us, like a good working dynamic is not all agreeable people or people that like the same things, period, or have the same type of background. So I think that's been something that really has been great for a show like this. It's been hard to adjust to because typically you like to hang around and speak to and have conversations with like-minded. So as a whole, it's been good, but like, you know, I really still can't understand why Mike would spend what he spent on a Larry Bird rookie and why Danny thinks that he's fixed the lighting in his room when he has not. Like that's and Danny keeps teasing us with the one button. I mean, dude, it's Monday. Go one more down. That's all we're asking for, and the fans asked for it in the actual comments. So
Have they really? I didn't know that.
yeah, they said they want to see him do just the straight Selleck, Tom Selleck. The other thing I wanted to bring up too, so you guys know a little bit about me, is at what point in your age do you start to like CBS Friday and Sunday programming? Because if you notice, there's a specific age demographic that loves Blue Bloods. They love those type of shows, and I think Danny, you might be creeping into that, where you might want to pull up on a Friday night. I mean.
So people may not know that I am out of touch with pop culture. And when I say I'm out of touch with pop culture, these guys will
I think that people know that. I don't think there's any. Yeah.
But really out of touch. Just flat out. I did not know who Oasis was or that there was some sort of tour. So just give you.
You've never heard of the band Oasis? They've been around for like 40 years.
I had heard the name. I mean, if you want me to be honest.
Do you know that you can't name one Oasis song?
Not one song.
Wonderwall means nothing to you.
Not at all.
All right, next question. Did your parents ever hug you as a child?
I had Bruce Springsteen's 5-album box set from 1985. And everything before that, I'm good with. Everything after that.
I'm not mad about it. Top 3 Bruce songs. Here we go. I play Bruce almost exclusively when I break live, by the way.
Born to Run, My Depression, and
Born to Run?
Probably like Secret.
Yeah.
Weirdo.
It's emotional to me.
Born to Run is emotional?
Yeah, I get pumped by it. And I'm Born in the USA because it's actually an anti-Vietnam song, not to get into that.
Here we go. Right after Independence
What
Day.
What a terrible take. Born to Run and Born in the USA?
Okay, you want to worst take? My favorite artist? Billy Joel.
I mean, it's not terrible.
That and the Beatles. That and the Beatles.
No, that's the most overrated band of all time. I'll tell you that right now. That is a horrible.
Who do you like? Aerosmith?
I love Springsteen. Chicago, I've seen in concert more than every other band combined.
Chicago's horrible.
Chicago, or old school Chicago. Terry Caff, who Jimi Hendrix once said the greatest guitar player he's ever seen in person before he shot his head off. But I
almost had my wife get out of the car on our way to the in-laws this week because she was singing. Yeah, she was like, "Oh, can we put on Boston More Than a Feeling?" Get out.
It's a great song. One of the greatest albums of all time. That was also their first album they ever did together in a studio. Another guy who shot himself in the face and blew his head off. So there's a theme here. I love Springsteen. But I'm not a big like give me 10th Avenue Freeze Out, Promised Land, The River. I like to have a connection here, folks. But I come from a broken home. So
all right. So what do you
think? My dad is not a Springsteen fan, though.
All right, we're
done. He's a Sinatra guy, isn't he?
Oh, we're done with. No, he's a big Chicago. He loves Chicago. Ooh. I just took him to see Chicago Earth, Wind, and Fire at the like where the Predators play hockey here, Bridgestone Arena, 6 months ago. Not even one of the best concerts.
Way too much brass.
You can't handle the brass.
What about Dady? Are you so you basically stopped listening to music from like 1985 on, right?
Pretty much pop culture, yeah.
Okay. Well, in music in general, you only listen to the oldies.
Yeah, the Beatles channel on Sirius Radio.
So you were never like into the emo stuff?
Yeah, he's a real emo guy. He was rocking out to Blink-182.
I went to Amsterdam and heard electric dance music for the first time once in Amsterdam. That's my total experience.
This does pull the curtain back on the lighting and the overall personality, though.
Yeah.
Okay. That's Danny's date to the prom right there. That was her.
That's a wild night.
In bed by 7, Danny's having dinner at Demo's by 4:30. Okay, next.
You're ignoring my question.
What's your question?
The challenges of dealing with Joe and I and starting a YouTube show. You've by far have more experience on hours on air. What's been a challenge for you?
Compelling content. That's my thing. Like there has not been much compelling content in the sports world. Like the card world goes quiet for weeks on end. And we started this it wasn't our fault, just horrific timing. There has not been a single story where it's like, hey, everybody is talking about this story. And so then you're forced to do the banter thing and try to recreate that with 3 people who don't know each other. Like I know you a little bit. I've met Joe in person twice. So the awkwardness there. The other thing too, I'm super ADD. You know this. I hate the camera stuff for this reason. It's always dancing around. Joe's on and off. Somebody's solo. I never know what's going on. I also can't see you guys' reaction to things a lot of times. So just getting like when Jesse's sitting across from me, I know what's happening. I say something, I know what's happening. So that's a whole different. Doing stuff remotely is way more challenging than being in a studio with somebody. And then like we don't have a flow yet. Like on paper we do. Danny's the Ernie Johnson. He's going to set the table, but I crap all over that and just talk over people every time. And Joe has told us he's a reactive, not a proactive person, or he likes to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been trying to do the same thing. Like I try to hold back, but you can always see there's a point every episode where I'm like, hey, we got to get like my number one question is always, why are people watching this? And if I can't answer it, but then I've also clearly been wrong about that because some of the better viewed episodes, I'm like, I think was our worst episode. And the views go way above. You two and Haley are like, no, that was our best episode. So I know I'm not correct. I am just stubborn.
Are you used to your other show too much?
Oh, yeah, but again, that's me and Jesse have been best friends for 15 years. We're in studio. We've done 500 episodes there. And I will tell you too, just mentally, this is the nice thing about the podcast is you could get crapped on in the comments, people criticize, all this nonsense, which is fine. At the end of the day, though, I'm like, yeah, but Simmons, who made $500 million in that space, signed us. Don't care what you think. It's like some running talking head on Instagram. But with this show, because it is so new, I read the comments and stuff, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, they might be onto something. As opposed to just having the confidence of, I work for arguably the most successful podcaster in the history of podcasting over there. It does give you like that air of confidence to be like, we're doing it right no matter what. Over here, I've told you, you guys have seen my little tantrums. I'm childish. Hey, scrap the whole show. Let's start again. Yeah. Which is stupid, but that's how I get. I'm super impulsive. I think it helps lead to success. I also think it makes me extremely difficult to work with. So,
yeah, if we did the personality test, I would say you're probably like my wife, a trailblazer, 100%.
From Portland, yeah. Me and M.
100%.
And she likes Boston. Why don't we get her on the show? She's always commenting anyways.
Did you see Joe's face when you said she likes Boston?
Loves Boston.
He had a visceral reaction.
They were jamming out in the car the other day, he told me.
Yeah, it's gross. But also, when we talk about the show, like, I think the other thing that is kind of fun is that you guys also allow me to get into the groove of bringing up stuff that's not just hobby based. I got to go back a couple of topics, but when we were talking about music, so Panini came out with the Prism Rolling Stones, and we got a case of it, and we had a customer come in and rip it. He pulled a Mick Jagger manga, big car that sold for like $260.
Like, here's my criticism of that product: no autographs, no memorabilia, nothing. You could pull, like, if you're gonna do that, I want a cut auto of Keith Richards and Mick Jagger.
That's my problem with a lot of the Allen and Ginter. They'll put cool stuff in, but it's just a picture.
Instability.
Yeah, but you have the big Chase and Allen and Ginter. You can get that. In the Rolling Stones, Joe, I was just saying my biggest issue there, I don't want a manga of that guy. I want a cut auto, or I want a piece of his jacket that he wore in the 1978 tour. There was none of that. What's the point?
A lot of numbered cards, a lot of numbered parallels.
That's what I mean. That doesn't appeal to a Rolling Stones fan. That appeals to a card fan.
That's artificial.
But that's where you really want to make sure, if you're going to do that product right, like you have to capture the pictures that are iconic. Like you can't just go just onesie twosies and that kind of stuff. You can't make that many parallels, but you have to get like a crazy iconic picture of Mick Jagger, like dude, him hosting SNL, like something that could like drag more pieces to it, or get different. When you do a product like that, you also want to make sure the background may have some Easter egg in the background. That goes back to
Easter, so that's on you.
Well,
wouldn't you rather have pictures, concert pictures, or
that was my thinking, like a live show, like, hey, this major event.
Can we get back? Can we touch a little bit on hobby real quick, Danny? I got to ask you a question.
Yes.
I know Mike could care less about soccer.
Correct.
Yes.
But why are the card companies so, again, and I like being reactive, not proactive, but why are they so reactive with releasing product after these major cups happen? So Gold Cup, Euro Cup, World Cup. It seems like the product always is delayed and comes in after it's actually happened rather than capitalizing on the hype.
They used to do it with World Cup, though.
No, that's the problem. Is how many cups did you just name? There's CONCACAF, and there's all these other tournaments and cups. Nobody wants all these cards of the same players.
But they could have released it like in May but they're different region players. So like the Euro Cup is not going to have the same players as the CONCACAF Gold Cup. So
and I think the American buyer doesn't like that. They're chasing specific
We don't
players.
understand it. Just to be clear, you just named a bunch of cups. Who's the champion at the end of the year? Who won the Super Bowl?
Most
Easy.
people say the Premier League champion.
Most people, but that's what I mean. The Premier League, you got this league, it's too much.
Right. No, I agree with you. And Joe, the World Cup, my son's a Man City fan. So
gross. Chelsea, they are in the quarterfinals of the Club World Cup. Come on, baby. The Blue Boys.
And U.S. lost to Mexico a couple days ago.
And now I'm furious.
Yep, he's so mad he couldn't even keep a connection. Yeah, I could not care less about soccer. Next topic.
All right. I was at the Chantilly show. We're sitting around and talking. Best 5 centers in NBA history. And this one, if you keep it to 5, is very hard.
Not for me.
Well, let's hear it. Who's your 5? Bill Russell.
Keep all 3 right on screen here. Joe, I don't know if you heard the question. Top 5 centers of all time.
I'm gross that we're not talking about soccer right now.
I mean, your internet cut out. That's not my fault. You and
Keith
Richards. I mean, you're going to leave soon whether you want to or not. You'll be gone in a second. Number 1 is not disputable. Kareem. He's got 6 and 6, doesn't he? Like all-time points leader forever, 6 championships, 6 MVPs. And Kareem is, by the way, I would also argue Kareem is the greatest basketball player ever. Not NBA player, that's Jordan. But look at Kareem's collegiate career. You could easily make the case Kareem is the greatest basketball player of all time.
Wilt Chamberlain?
Shaquille O'Neal?
Oh, I have Shaq there too. So
there's my top 3.
Here's my list. I think it's Kareem 1, Bill 2, Wilt 3, Shaq, Hakeem 4 and 5. Whatever order you want to put them.
No George Mikan.
I mean, I don't know. Played 800 years ago. And here's the problem with Shaq. If you're in a close game, he can't be on the floor because of his free throw shooting. He was the most dominant player I've ever seen.
How about Bill Walton, if he didn't get hurt?
Absolutely. Bill Walton's the greatest passing big man of all time.
And maybe the greatest player.
Sabonis was excellent. But Walton was an overall excellent player, offensively, defensively, MVP, multiple championships.
So he just didn't come over to the U.S. until he was far older. But as a younger player, I mean, and what about Jokic at this point too? Where's he climbing that too?
He's getting there. I can't put him
center.
Yep.
Yes. 100%.
I can't put him in there yet, though. Does he have 2 or 3 MVPs, by the way? I get this wrong every time.
I think he has 3.
Okay, but he has 1 ring. To get into that caliber, you have to. He's right there, though. If you want to tell me he's 6, I have no argument.
Patrick Ewing?
Better than Ewing.
Yeah.
And more accomplished. David Robinson's the other one right there. I have trouble putting him above Robinson, but he's more accomplished. But Robinson, to me, was just way ahead of it. I think Robinson could play at any era and be unbelievable. As athletic as he was, great defensively. But yeah, that's my thing. Kareem is the most accomplished basketball player ever. Like, hard for me to. I know Joe wants to put us back to the 3 so I can see this reaction. Like, I know you're shaking your head. What is the criticism of Kareem?
There just was no other body type like that at that time, really, to go against him head to head consistently. Like how Shaq had other teams that had big men that were 7-footers. Dude, Shaq is the greatest center of all time.
See, I think he's the most dominant, but Shaquille O'Neal's conditioning was an issue for years, and he couldn't be on the floor he could not be on the floor in a close game because of his free throw shooting.
And Orlando Shaq was different than later Shaq.
Yeah, LA Shaq is the most dominant force I've ever seen in the game, period. But if it's a 4-point game with 2 minutes left, I'm hacking him and he's a liability. Like, you can't argue that.
What I can argue is he was dominant that because of your logic right there, they had to institute a new rule.
Yep.
That you couldn't do it. That's how dominant, and there were no new rules that were put in. And I mean,
there was for Jabbar. They got rid of the dunk.
What do you mean got rid of the dunk?
In I think it was college.
Fact check them hard.
Fact check it.
That seems like a lie. No, I'm with you though. Shaquille was great. But again, that is always my pushback. Like, I could make an issue. I could push back against every center I've named. Like, I think Kareem is far and away number 1. Criticism, weakest competition for the first few. Now, when he was playing the Celtics in those days and coming up, he played against Hakeem at the end, and he also played against Walton and Parrish. He had some, but yes, if you want to tell me his competition was weak, fine. Bill Russell played with the most loaded amount of all-stars of all time. That is also a crazy inflated stat. Look at what those players did with him still. He was clearly dominant, and Wilt will tell you that too. But if you want to tell me that, no problem. Wilt didn't win. He has 2 championships, I think. That's an issue when you're in that discussion. But I would also tell you, I think Wilt is the most unbelievably offensive, unstoppable weapon of all time. But you could criticize that.
But Wilt didn't have the team around him.
Oh, yeah. Jerry West and Elgin Baylor weren't that great.
Wilt?
Yeah. He played with Westbrook.
Not in their primes.
Jerry West was absolutely in his prime. He won MVP of a losing season once with Wilt on that team, I believe. I think Wilt was still there. But fine, if you want to tell me, but I'm just saying, if you want to tell me that that's why, but I can't control that. Like, if we're going to do that, then I can't play the what if. What I can tell you is that's my criticism of Wilt. There was somebody played the exact same position who has 11 rings to his 2 on his watch. That's a criticism. Was he better and more talented than Russell offensively by a mile? No question. But that's still a legit criticism. The only one I can't criticize is Hakeem. What flaw is there in Hakeem's game?
He wasn't as good at every skill as some guys were at different skills.
Yes, yeah, I don't.
He was good across the board.
He's the greatest defensive center of all time, and I don't think that's close. And offensively, he has the greatest footwork and finish of any center.
Bill Russell might be the best defensive center.
Yeah, I would. I think it gets, and I love Russell. He's all over the wall. I not even close. I think Hakeem is the greatest and most versatile center of all time. But his resume. Let's criticize Hakeem. His resume is lacking. Then 2 championships and
he
only
had
1 or 2 MVPs.
And he had Drexler.
Mm-hmm.
So
yep. So you can criticize him too. Sure.
And but there's something to be said about the size of Shaq and taking up that paint as another piece of the defense. Like, you have to basically change your entire offensive strategy because of the size of this man in there. And the other thing too is, let's keep in mind, you want to talk about Kareem, yes, all these guys. Shaq, he went head to head against Hakeem,
and lost.
He did 100%, but he was going against these guys. And
agreed, he was in the greatest era of big men. Here's my other criticism of Shaq, though. When did he ever win when he didn't have an unbelievable? And I don't even think this is a valid criticism because everybody has help. But the number one criticism I hear of LeBron, who I cannot stand, look at his teams every year. Well, Shaq won 3 with Kobe, who was playing at an MVP level at the time, even though he didn't win. And he won 1 with Dwayne Wade, who, again, was playing at an MVP type level. That's not a criticism of Shaq, though. And I'm not even criticizing. Shaq is unbelievable. But I do find it funny we use certain criticisms for only certain players.
But to that point, you take Shaq out of those.
Yeah, take Joe out of the show, and it's better. I mean, that's
absolutely
clear. Danny, what's your 5? Out of curiosity.
It's actually Chamberlain, Jabbar, Russell, Shaq, and Hakeem.
So we have the same 5, just a different order.
Yeah, I'd have to think about the order a little bit more. Okay. I had Russell higher until you talked him down for me a little bit.
Did you guys answer, like, if you took Shaq out of those teams, do they still win?
No, nope. Let me ask you another question.
I think that's true for all of them.
If you took any of those guys off those teams, none of those teams would. Thank God. Yeah, I guess to take Joe away.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
So my next question is, which ones get hobby love, and why do centers not get hobby love?
You just answered it. None of them get hobby love. No one cares about centers.
Why?
The big man thing is because you cannot imitate what they do off the field, off the court. Steph Curry is the most popular player in the history of basketball. There was a time growing up, because that was when I was in high school and right before, when I was playing ball every weekend and on organized teams, when it was AI, because we were all trying to imitate the crossover. That's something we couldn't do it well, but something you could do. You can imitate that move. I can't imitate being the biggest, most physically dominant guy on the court. You can imitate Curry, start chucking it up from half court. Everybody imitates that. Even the Kobe thing for a while. Like, dude, you throw something in a trash can now, turn around and throw a can at a trash can. What do you say? Kobe. Like, there's a level of collectibility that directly ties to the popularity, and a lot of that is linked to how you can imitate that player off the court.
But should a guy like SGA really sell for as much as a Jabbar rookie?
Of course not. But that happens. There's a billion examples of that. And it's the other thing too, though. That Jabbar card is weird. I've got multiple back there. I think it's an unbelievable card. You can see it right there. That's a signed rookie version. By the way,
the tall boy.
That's the tall boy. I think it's 1969. We have to fact check that. That's an autographed rookie. Nice. It's like a PSA 2 or 3 grade, low grade autograph with like 4 or 5 inscriptions, points, MVPs, whatever. That card's worth like $5,000. That's card should be worth, like, give me another all-time great.
Mike
if that's a Mickey Mantle rookie that's the lowest grade with no inscription, what's it worth? Quarter, $500,000? I don't know. Hundreds of thousands at minimum. If that's a Michael Jordan low grade autograph rookie, 6 figures. One high grade just went for 7 figures. Football, that's a Tom Brady. Unbelievable. But I think that the tall boy really works against that card. I also think Kareem is a big man, and people don't like him. He's not collectible.
I think it's the big man syndrome, and I've never understood why the top 5 guys of all time. I mean, what can you get Elijah One stuff for?
Oh, nothing. You probably get a PSA 9. I have to fact check, but I mean, it's a 1980. He's an 86 rookie, isn't he?
I
fair
believe
The cards. I know
I'd like
84.
to think that actually his signature shoe that he put out via Spalding, I bet if you found an original Hakeem signature shoe, I bet that's worth more than his rookie. Spalding.
Sure.
That's saying something.
Not a sponsor. But there's also examples of that in other places. Running backs, not like the most collectible. Jim Brown, again, not to brag, but there's an autographed Jim Brown right next to that.
That's probably what,
$100,000?
100 million?
Yeah. I keep that one in the safe.
That's true for all non-quarterbacks.
It's true for big men, though, too.
Right, but it's one position on the court that's no good in basketball.
And
It's
pitchers,
one position and catcher.
Well, some pitchers, though. Nolan Ryan, unbelievable market.
Kershaw, Verlander.
But big men, even Joker. Joker is still no one's arguing he's not the greatest player in the game today. SGA had his moment, but I mean, I think by and large. But and again, I would ask you, if you're trying to imitate Joker playing pickup ball, like kids who are watching basketball, what move are you imitating? What are you doing to try to be like, hey, I'm Joker? Nothing.
The people that are imitating it are people who have my body.
I was about to say
my body.
Yeah, and are they playing a lot of pickup ball? It is true, though. Like, guys are not imitating. So the Joker market is not nearly as high as Luka. Luka has no MVPs and no finals. Joker has 3 MVPs and a finals and a ring. The resumes aren't close, but Luka outsells him 10-1 or 5-1, whatever the number is now.
All right. Gio, you've bragged about enough cards. You said you had another one to share.
Oh, this is my biggest brag of the day. Dude, 2001 SP Authentic Sign of the Times, one of the greatest autograph sets of all time, in my opinion. I've been collecting that set for 8-9 years. I have a big thing, too, where I try not to just buy them on eBay. I try to find them at shows, try to make it kind of fun. I have bought some on eBay, though. I have never seen the Staubach autograph in real life, ever, not once. And I've never, I've never owned it, obviously. I'm bidding on one the other day. It starts getting way up. And I've noticed some of these have been shielded on eBay because I'm such a loudmouth about what I'm trying to buy. I was like, I'll bid $200. I'm not going above because that's already overpaying. Card closes at like $215. A couple days later, my mother walks into my house and is like, oh, here's a package. And my mom lives in the apartment I lived in. Me and my wife lived there for 10 or 12 years. So occasionally she will still get like tops. If I have a really old redemption, she'll get it at the house. Or occasionally I'll forget to have changed my eBay address, email address, or physical address. So she'll get stuff. So she comes in and hands me a bubble mailer. I'm thinking, oh, I bought something and forgot to change the address. I open it and it's that card. And I was like, that's funny. I don't remember winning the card. She went on and bought me that card, which I thought was pretty amazing. I'm very rare. I'm also the obnoxious type who almost always can guess what the gift is, and I ruin the moment. It's like the Big Daddy thing where it's like, you're not proposing, are you? Yeah, you just totally wasted. Somebody's in the bathroom crying.
Wait, did you really guess what it was when she gave it to you?
No, that's what I mean. I had no clue. And I opened it, I was like, what is this? I was like, did I get this sent to you by mistake? She's like, no, I've heard you talk about this. I went and bought the card. It was unbelievable. I wish she had cooked some meatballs with it. Phenomenal cook, but that's for another show.
Does your mother listen to your content?
A little bit, I think, but not a ton.
I don't think my mother knows what I do for a living.
No, if you're stuck in the 80s, your mother's stuck in she doesn't even know the TV exists, for God's sakes.
Big
that lady still got a subscription to the Wall Street Journal being delivered by hand.
Hey, speaking of popularity,
wow. Yep.
Hey, popularity. Are you guys familiar with the Indian Premier League?
Nope. Oh, is this the cricket thing?
This is the cricket thing.
Perfect. Hopefully that mic gets cut soon.
Dude, this is insane. It'll probably get cut. 578 million viewers in their finale game. That's insane. That is insane. And year over year, the data's there. The growth that they have. And I bring this up because this is the model that the Savannah Bananas is trying to adopt to increase their views. They're going to a 16 league eventually by the end of October, and they want to use like a WWE type schedule year round. And I watched an interview online. The gentleman who wears the whole yellow getup that owns the league, they're all about the engagement, and they see what they're doing over in India with cricket and the different things that they do throughout the year to keep fan engagement. And I just wondered why. And as you can see there, look at the Bananas, back-to-back nights selling
It's
out.
Fenway, isn't it?
That's
Yeah.
Fenway.
Yeah,
So
my brother took my nephew to this thing. And the
did
kid
a
doesn't care
night
about
day.
sports, by the way. He does
Really?
not care about sports almost at all. They go to this every time.
They've gotten expensive.
Danny and I
really?
talked about this.
What's that ticket run?
For a
100 plus.
family of 7 to go, it was almost
So-
$800.
You're so
for us to go.
obnoxious. Yeah, but McDonald's is $150 for a family of 7.
Not for the $5 meal, Mike.
Okay.
They have a $5 meal, nuggets, burger, fries, and a drink. Can't beat it.
Okay.
But dude, you want this whole fan and family experience. I get it. And as you expand, it has to get more expensive. And then it becomes this big popularity type thing. So it's supply and demand. So don't
Sure.
even try to buy aftermarket tickets. But they did almost 78,000 people at Fenway. They had a night game and then a day game to follow. That's a ton of people
That is
that are
wild.
going to see a game of nonsense. Like, it's fun 100%, and it gets everyone engaged, and they're clearly doing something right. But is it also kind of messing with the purity of baseball? I mean, Mike, I know you don't watch sports as much as you talk about it, but you don't really care for the purity of baseball.
I don't care for your tone either, just while we're talking.
The Harlem Globetrotters were their own thing. They didn't ruin the NBA.
Yeah, but they were never that popular either. Like, you could argue now a Savannah Banana game outsells if you put them side by side in Boston right now. And again, 2025 Red Sox fans are different than 2004. But if you said the Sox Yankees game or the Savannah Banana, you would have way more demand for the Banana game. Not even close. Because people who don't care about the sport want to go. It's a whole event. So
Do
how does
people
that?
who care about the sport want to go?
I mean, I think like my brother's a diehard baseball guy, and he
But
loves.
would he go without his kid?
Oh, that's a good point. Probably not. Yeah,
No,
probably
it's a
not.
circus. That's why it's a circus.
Yeah.
They don't want to do that. And Mike's brother, who's probably a big Drew Barrymore, Jimmy Fallon fan, if he's referencing 2004 Red Sox, when you have those guys carrying the banner for Red Sox Nation, I mean, again, I get to brag a little bit here because my Tigers are steamrolling, and yes, I'm an Arizona and a Tigers fan, but no, to that point, purists aren't. I don't have a desire to go see it. I think it's fun. I like what they do, but it's novelty. 100%. It's novelty.
All right. If it's on TV, are you watching the hot dog eating contest or Savannah Bananas?
Disgusting bananas.
Hot dog eating competition.
Hot
That's
dog.
America. Number one. 17 mustard belts.
The goat, Joe.
First of all, I think in that setting it's pronounced Murica, but yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Which, speaking of, the 4th of July, Independence Day weekend on ESPN, they bring out the Ocho. I watched a thing called Omega Ball, which is 5-on-5-on-5 soccer. It's 3 teams, 3 goals, and they rotate in 10-minute quarters, 3 quarters. Insane. Insane, the stuff that you see. You see a lot of wiffle ball, but dude, I get it. It's novelty, but there was actually like guys going hard, like their job depended on it. That was kind of cool. It wasn't like, hey, I'm gonna do a dance move and get someone out at first and catch a flaming banana with the back of my hat. Like, none of that kind of stuff. It was cool, but to your point, the mustard belt. Big
Yeah.
deal.
There you go.
All right. Somebody put on the list, and then we're going to get out of here. Bucket list sporting events. I don't know if you meant stuff that in the history of sports or just bucket list sporting events like I've
That you want to attend before.
An Orioles World Series win is probably, not to brag, but probably the last thing on my list.
Well, how would that be a brag?
Because I've been to all the others.
You've heard people brag. Okay, there's the brag. Okay, you have to
Yeah.
actually introduce the brag before you say.
So,
Okay.
Danny, have you been to Wimbledon?
No, but it's not on my bucket list.
The center court Wimbledon for a match. I wouldn't even care who's doing it.
Oh.
Just to be in that environment. I think that would be fantastic.
I'd just be sitting there sweating.
I would be sweating profusely, and I would be I would get kicked out because I would be so excited for someone that I don't even follow. Did you? Like, that would be me.
I couldn't sit there quiet that long.
A Brady Super Bowl would have been mine.
Okay.
Not even close. I came
like
absolutely a Brady Super Bowl. Yeah.
Okay, but how about going forward? Like, is there something that you'd love to attend that you haven't? That would be huge. Have you been to the Olympics?
No, but I don't care. That's what I mean. That wouldn't do anything for me. We don't all have American flags behind us. Sorry, I don't care about the Olympics.
Well, just to see, like,
That's
even
awesome.
like, I know you guys aren't soccer fans, but like seeing World Cup, like to see a World Cup.
I went to a soccer game once. My buddy works for Bridgestone here. We literally sat front row at a Nashville, I think it's just Nashville FC. They don't actually have team names. They're idiots. It was exciting. A couple balls got kicked right over the little wire. There's not even a fence. It was exciting. Like it was fun to go to. I'm good. I don't ever have to see another soccer game.
But Joe,
you guys
cool
are that boring. Like,
no, but there's cool things. Then there's bucket list. You're talking about bucket.
Yeah, you're saying bucket list too. That's a difference. Like all-time things to do. No, soccer's nowhere on the list. It'll be, you know what my bucket list thing will be? When Theo finally develops like a love of any sport, whatever it is, and he's passionate about one of them, that'll be my bucket.
I get it. You're such a great dad. We know you're.
Well, I only have one. I don't have 13 kids, so I can actually give him some attention. Unlike you, who's just like a doctor making his rounds at night, just saying goodnight to the wing of people you've created, you freaking psycho. Meanwhile, your wife's out there jamming in the Kia Carnival to Boston. Good. Yeah, Haley, I hope that wasn't his internet. I hope Haley just threw him out. I don't need Joe's advice on parenting. He's had 86 attempts at it. He's got to be fairly good.
Joe lives nowhere near a pharmacy, evidently.
But guys, you like a WrestleMania. Like I
would have loved to see The Undertaker as a kid. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
But going forward, would you like? Would that be kind of cool for you to attend a WrestleMania event?
No.
I know you have no interest, but just to be in the environment, like you don't necessarily have to cheer for them or.
But I went to big wrestling when I was younger. Yeah. It's guys in underwear. No, but who cares?
Like an F1 event, something like that, or like the 24 Le Mans.
The Beltway in Baltimore is
Le Mans. Is that the breathing class for kids?
That's Le Mans, but Le Mans is the race in France where they race for 24 hours straight.
Nothing. No, I have no interest.
No.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Joe. What's your one thing? You get one bucket list item.
Dude, I already told you, center court Wimbledon. It doesn't matter. I don't know that that's I don't know that that's something like that's a definite bucket list for me. Like it doesn't matter. I would love like I know I'll probably look like a giant snowman dressed in white because I think that's what you have to wear like on center court. Like I think the stands have something because it's either that or maybe it's the players all have to be in white.
Well, the players definitely do.
I didn't want to be mixed up as one of the players.
Tiger at the Masters back in the day. Tiger at Augusta. I would have gone nuts for that.
How about just going forward to go to Augusta now?
Again, I don't have any. For me, there's got to be a connection to the golfer.
Right.
Yeah, I got to see it.
Or a goat. You want to see you want to see the great players of all time.
Would either of you guys do a tour of like the Indianapolis Raceway to like kiss the bricks or
kiss the bricks
to make left turns all day?
Yeah, no thanks.
Something like to go. Like, have you ever taken a tour of Fenway, Mike?
Yes, but I have a connection there.
Yes.
Love it.
And how amazing was that?
Yep, amazing.
I mean,
but he loves Fenway.
But I love I love Fenway.
Yes, I've done the tour of Fenway. And
I did the tour of Wrigley, by the way. Not a Cubs fan. We did the whole in-depth tour. It was cool. I would never do it again. Never have to. I've done it once.
Right. Okay.
And then see, that's the difference though. My brother goes on a tour every year. They hit like 3 or 4 ballparks over a week span. Like that's what you're talking about. Like this year he went to Cincy. I think they did Shea, and they did one other one. By the way, Danny, he also grades them every time. Baltimore's he will not do Fenway though because he knows he's a homer. But I think Baltimore Camden is still his highest rated ballpark experience of all time.
As it should be. Shout out to Janet Marie Smith, who was the architect on that.
Is she alive? She's still
she
with us?
is. She also is the one who redid Fenway when they did all the renovations, and she did Dodger Stadium. She is the GOAT of baseball stadium.
Usually 3 names means serial killer or no, assassin.
Right.
No, she's not an assassin.
You don't know.
And let me leave you with this: with Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, it is renowned for having a non-regulation height pitching mound. It's a flatter mound, which is more of an advantage for the hitters. Take that.
We will. Yep.
I did not
No
know.
further thought of that.
Okay.
All right, Joe, remind everybody, what do they need to do?
Dude, you guys need to like and subscribe to our page. You know you're going to get awesome feedback, awesome content. We're going to jump in when it airs live. We're going to give you the feedback. Terry went back and forth with us this last week. We're still waiting for him to reach out to
Terry
on social.
I'm a Terry.
I'm going to see Terry at the National, but please like and subscribe to the page. You're going to get all the content. We're going to cut it up. I know it's long form. A lot of you don't have the attention span, and that's okay. You're going to get the clips of the hot takes that we do have. But dude, smash that button, smash that thumbs up, and don't forget to like the page.
All right, Wednesday nights, 8 o'clock Eastern. If you're in a different time zone, that's up to you to figure it out. Episode 5 is in the books.
Oh, God. Richard Simmons hair over there. Nice. Goodbye.